I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. And congratulations to football, 10-win season, and Coach Franklin. That's just unbelievable with the division that they're in, and so much adversity. It's just amazing what he's doing year in and year out. So congrats to Coach Franklin. As far as us in New York, I think we learned a lot about ourselves. We played really good basketball for about 30 minutes against Old Miss, and obviously the last, I'll say 6:36. We didn't finish the job. There's so much to learn from that, and for me, so much to learn as well. And we did. What we did after that game is we didn't sulk, we didn't hang our heads, we didn't overreact. We got up the next day, we went back to work, we got a little bit better. We watched it on film. We met as a team for Thanksgiving. There was a lot of gratitude in our meeting room, which was fantastic. And then we came back and played Syracuse Friday night, and I thought we played some of our best basketball for 40 minutes. Look, Syracuse is too good not to make runs. They made some runs, but we answered the runs. We got into some foul trouble. Our bench played great. Curtis Jones, Seth Lundy did some unbelievable things. And I would venture to say that's got to be the best two-game series that Mike Watkins has played in a long time to go double-double. He's playing some really, really good basketball. He's day-to-day, but he's playing some really good basketball right now.
What did you think of a lot of things can happen after a loss like that in terms of the mentality that guys might have the next day and to play, 2 days later and play, I would say pretty well, like you mentioned. How did you think that response was in terms of just kind of flushing that game from the system?
Yeah, you know what? It's about we got to let it go. You got to let it go. Obviously, we're up 20, we're up 16, we're up 14 with 6 minutes to go. But we had to let it go. Somehow, some way, mentally, we had to let it go. Coach Franklin said, "You can't let Minnesota beat you twice." Well, we couldn't let Old Miss beat us twice. Somehow we had to let it go, move on, and prepare ourselves for a very good Syracuse team, which plays, predominantly zone for 40 minutes. And I thought our guys really responded. I thought there was a lot of hunger out there. I thought there was anger out there. They were mad that we were in the situation and not playing for a championship. And in years past, maybe that turns into a 3-game losing streak. But this is something that we're talking about. If we have a loss, we got to move on, next play, and continue to get better.
How did you think the guys did absorbing two different game plans in a short amount of time? Syracuse is you probably won't see a team that plays defense like Syracuse does again, at least that much. How did you think they did in terms of a turnaround on a short few days?
Yeah, I thought mentally, I thought they did a really nice job. Yeah, look, when you lose the way we did in the fashion man, that was painful. That was painful. So for them to able to flip the script and move on and then dial in and focus on a really good Syracuse team and a zone. There's only been a few teams that have played a zone. So it wasn't like we had all this time to prepare and work on different zone offenses. I thought our guys, they were micro-focused, they were up to the task and the challenge, and they came out and played that way for 40.
Coach, you mentioned Curtis and Seth Lundy earlier. They both had positive games against Ole Miss, but then Curtis with 14 and Seth with 10 and some big buckets against Syracuse. Can you just speak to their production in the last couple games and how they're getting comfortable with the offense and I guess the bench as a whole?
Yeah, I think the Syracuse game once again showed our depth and showed that we can rely on these guys and I can trust these guys. I mean, Lamar's only averaging 30 minutes a game. 29.7, so 30 minutes a game. And Seth filled in really, really nice. And when other guys are, Miles struggling to shoot a little bit there in New York. So it was nice to have Curtis come in and really produce some crucial points for us. But also he's getting used to, what I would tell you, he's getting used to, because we know he can score, he's getting used to the defensive end and the schemes that we have and the different styles of rotations that we may have. I think that's where he's getting more comfortable. And same with Seth.
Coach, you mentioned that it's probably the best back-to-back performance you've ever seen from Mike Watkins. He has to go up against Sarr on Wednesday night from Wake Forest and how well he's been playing. How big of a challenge do you think it's going to be for him to try to get that third straight day? I know you talk about day by day.
Yeah, he's day to day, but I agree. Sarr's really good. His production is off the charts right now. He's playing at a very high level for Wake Forest. So it'll be a great matchup. It'll be a great matchup for our bigs. It's not really just But Mike needs to continue to do the little things. I think you're starting to see him in stances a little bit more. His post defense is a little bit better. His ball screen defense is a little bit better. Now, I played him 30-plus minutes the other night. It's probably too many minutes because he saw some, maybe some lapses there towards the end in Old Miss and in Syracuse where I got to keep him fresh. And look, when Johnny's in the game, we do great things. Johnny's only averaging 13 minutes a game right now. I expected Johnny to play 18 and 20 minutes, so maybe a little bit more rest for Mike somewhere along the line. But again, he was playing so well; it was hard to take him out.
I know you always focus on one game at a time, that old adage. But your Big Ten schedule, at least to start, the Big Ten season with at Ohio State and then coming back for Maryland is right on the horizon. Those have been two of the better teams in the country. How do you, I guess, for one, not look ahead to those games because they're going to be difficult teams to prepare for? And then how do you guys go about diving into that film and sizing up, okay, how are we going to compete with these guys?
Yeah, what I would say, number one, we got to focus on Wake Forest. They just played in a championship game. They're on a roll. They're playing really well. They got a great point guard. They got shooters surrounding them, and they got great bigs. So that's obviously my focus. When that day does come and we play those teams, they have to deal with us too. So, we're playing pretty well. We have some shooters. We have some good bigs. We're playing at a good pace. It's going to be interesting, coming out of the gates playing the two teams like that. But they also have to say that they're playing us too, and they know we're playing well. So, I look forward to this challenge over the next couple of weeks. These high major games.
Mike is not really getting called for fouls, which is an interesting development to say the least. I mean, what do you think has contributed to that? Because he's really, been able to keep himself on the floor and play well, but at the same time isn't getting himself in foul trouble.
Yeah, I think he's starting to develop better habits in low post defense, ball screen defense. Kevin Freeman has really worked hard with our bigs to get them to the point where we don't have these silly fouls. The ones that are 94 feet, we don't need those fouls. And if you're in a stance, you're going to be more alert. And if you're doing your job, you're going to be more alert. So I think, give Kevin Freeman a little shout out and give our bigs the fact that they're listening and willing to be coached.
And I don't know if I expected Mike to be as productive offensively as he has been. Some of it has been matchups and whatnot, but he seems to have taken a next step on that end of the floor. Is it just been a matter of who he's going up against, or do you feel like he is playing better on that end or more consistently on that end?
You know what he's doing? He's going to rebound the ball. He's got 24 offensive rebounds. I think he's creating opportunities for himself, which is great, and that keeps him going. And then we have a package for him where we want to get him the basketball, and I think Jamari's doing a really good job of that, of understanding, hey, the big fella hasn't gotten a touch in a while. Let's make sure we really give him a look to keep him engaged. And then again, Mike has worked hard. I told you this had to be one of his best summers ever, on and off the floor. And I think you're starting to see that. Now, he was shooting from the free throw line. He was shooting better until this last two games, but that's got to get back up to 70.
And with the success that you've had with this team and the talent that you've got and the interchangeable parts that you have and a certain baseline for how it seems like they're going to play every night, are you having more fun with this team? I mean, is it not that it ever gets easy?
You know what? It's something I'm working hard at. I'm trying to find joy in all of this. There's so much stress and pressure on every practice, every game that we play, that if I'm finding joy and having fun, well, guess what? That's going to trickle to the staff. That's going to trickle to the players, and they're going out and enjoying this. They had fun. They had fun in New York. For 30 minutes, they had fun at Old Miss. Our huddles were great. In the Syracuse game, those huddles were even better. They had fun. I want this to continue to be a season where they're enjoying themselves and they don't feel the pressures of the stress or it becomes overwhelming to them. And I'm trying to do that. I'm working really hard at just finding joy, not relief. When you win a game, it's not relief. It's joy. Man, that was awesome. Man, did I just have fun. That's what it's got to. Because if not, you're going to burn out. That's just human nature.
Do you feel like you're allowing them to have joy, or they're allowing you to have joy, or is it a little bit of
I think it's a little bit of both. I think I'm never going to say I've loosened up because this is our culture and this is the way we want our culture. But I'm going to let them laugh and I'm going to let them play some music. I'm going to let them, make some jokes. And that's okay at my expense sometimes, more at Ergo's, but that's all right. We're gonna allow that to happen as long as they don't cross the line.
Coach, do you feel like this team kind of has more of a buzz on campus early on in the season than past years with the success you guys have had?
I hope so. I don't know. I've been to the football games. It seems like the students are fired up. I've walked through the tailgates. It seems like the alums and fans are fired up. I'd like to think so. And we were off to a very good start. I mean, we've beaten Syracuse and Georgetown, and I don't know what Penn State teams can say they've done that in a single season. Two really historical programs. So it just shows you where we were and where we're going.
Is there like kind of an internal battle you think within every player, just within maybe just in general between being happy with the success that you guys have had, but obviously not getting complacent and wanting to be able to continue that and not getting ahead of yourself and maybe losing a game that.
Well, it's like Old Miss. Let it go. It's over. Syracuse. We go back to practice today. It's over. You got to let it go. Georgetown. We got to let it go. We got to get back to work. We got to continue the process of getting better today. There's definitely some glaring weaknesses that we have to work on defensively and offensively to become the best team that we can be. So we got to make sure we come in very hungry today with the growth mindset to get better. And if we do that, we give ourselves a chance.
Coach Miles is the best shooter on the team without a doubt, and he's kind of been off to a difficult start for him this season. What have you been telling him, and what have you guys been trying to do in practice to kind of get him back on the right foot?
Really simple. Keep shooting. We believe in you. Keep shooting with confidence. He went through this last year a little bit in the beginning of the year. I took him out of the starting lineup for a game or two, and then I inserted him back. But I think, this is something he goes through. There's other things that he can be doing, though. He can rebound the ball. He can, he's got a positive assist to turnover ratio. As long as he's doing other things on the floor, he's going to be on the floor.